While you were sleeping last night, something shifted in the atmosphere that's got me and my meteorologist colleagues genuinely concerned about your weekend travel. What happened overnight involves three separate weather systems coming together. And folks, in my 20 years doing this, these combinations always get my attention. I'm Michael Thompson, and today's Tuesday, December 16th, 2025. In the next 10 minutes, I'll walk you through what this means for your family and how we can stay safe. If you've been following my forecasts over the years, you know I don't sound the alarm unless it's really warranted. Well, this is one of those times. We've got a major winter storm building that's going to bring heavy snow, dangerous winds, and the kind of cold that reminds you why our grandparents always kept extra blankets handy. Here's what makes this one different. This storm's going to affect holiday travel from the Canadian Rockies clear down to New England. We're talking blizzard conditions in some places, flooding in others, and wind gusts that could hit 100 miles per hour up in the mountains. Let me start with your timeline, then I'll explain why this pattern caught even us old-timers by surprise. Today through Wednesday, the Pacific Northwest is getting hammered again. We're talking another 12 to 18 inches of rain hitting areas that are already pretty saturated. Thursday's the big day. That's when all this Pacific moisture runs smack into some serious Arctic air, and that's never a good combination. Friday through Saturday, the temperature's going to crash hard, and I mean the kind of cold that makes you think twice about stepping outside. Sunday into next week. We'll keep seeing waves of this stuff rolling through, setting up what could be the coldest Christmas many of us have seen in years. Now, let me walk you through what each part of the country can expect. And I'll start where I'm seeing the most troublesome conditions. Pacific Northwest, folks, you're dealing with something that's really concerning me. Another foot to foot and a half of rain through the weekend. If you're anywhere from Seattle down to Portland, those rivers that were already running high, they're going to get a lot higher. And up in the Cascades, we could see wind gusts over 100 miles per hour Wednesday, the kind that'll knock down trees and take out power lines. Here's where this story takes a serious turn. All that moisture is about to slam into some of the coldest air we've seen this winter. You folks up in the Canadian prairies and upper Midwest, this is starting to look like those polar vortex events we went through a few years back. Ontario and Quebec could see 1 to 3 feet of snow, while Manitoba and Saskatchewan are looking at whiteout conditions. That storm track's going to dip down into the northern U.S. too, Minnesota, Wisconsin, upper peninsula of Michigan. If you're in Minneapolis, Green Bay, or Duluth and thinking about traveling Thursday or Friday, I'd really encourage you to reconsider those plans. Great Lakes region, Chicago, Milwaukee, Detroit, you're right on the edge where these things can change fast. The snow line's going to be jumping around, so even if you're expecting mostly rain, don't be surprised if you wake up to snow instead. Now here's something most other forecasts aren't talking about. The wind situation with this storm is going to be brutal. Rocky Mountain states from Montana down to Colorado, we're talking about winds that could hit 100 miles per hour, especially in the exposed area. These winds are going to create ground blizzards, even where there's not much new snow falling. Basically, zero visibility conditions. If you're planning to drive an RV, pulling a trailer, or driving anything high-sided, I'd avoid those areas Wednesday through Friday. Eastern folks, Ohio Valley through New England, you'll definitely feel this thing as it moves through your neck of the woods. The main thing for you will be the cold air that follows, and I'm talking about temperatures dropping like a rock. Wind chills are going to get downright dangerous, especially across northern New England and around the Great Lakes. You know what really worries me about this system? The timing. Right smack in the middle of the biggest travel week of the year. Airlines are already shuffling schedules at the major hubs, Minneapolis, Chicago, Denver, Seattle. They see what's coming. Interstate travel is going to be rough, especially I-90, I-94, and I-35 right through the heart of this thing. For those of you with Christmas gatherings to get to, let me share what I'd do if I were in your shoes. If you're driving anywhere through the storm zone Thursday or Friday, seriously think about leaving a day early or waiting until Sunday. Keep that emergency kit in your car, extra food, water, warm clothes, and make sure somebody knows exactly which route you're taking. If you're flying, well, expect delays and maybe some cancellations at airports in the affected areas. Now, what's really got my attention is the cold air that's going to follow this system, and this is the part that concerns me most. We're talking about that Arctic air spilling down from Canada like it did back in 2014. You remember that polar vortex winter. Up in northern Canada, wind chills could hit 60 below zero, colder than most of us have ever experienced. Minnesota, Wisconsin, northern Iowa, you could see wind chills around 30 below Friday morning. That's the kind of cold where your face hurts in seconds, and frostbite becomes a real concern if you're stuck outside. So here's what I'd do if I were you. What you need to tackle in the next day or so. Check on your elderly neighbors and relatives, especially if they're living alone or have heating concerns. If you've got outdoor pipes or you're on a well system, now's the time to take those freeze precautions. I'd be making that grocery run the day or tomorrow. Stock up on food, any medications you need, batteries, the usual storm prep stuff. And if you absolutely have to travel, make sure your car is ready. Antifreeze, emergency supplies, the works. Now here's some good news that should help with your Christmas planning. And I know you need to hear this. This storm, as nasty as it's going to be, should move through pretty quickly for most areas. By Christmas week, we're seeing signs that this pattern's going to break down and bring milder air to most of the country. There's a ridge of high pressure that typically builds after these big Arctic outbreaks, kind of nature's way of balancing things out. Christmas Day itself is looking much more manageable across most areas. We should be past the worst of it by then. The western states will still be active with more Pacific storms, but that's pretty normal for this time of year out there. If you love snow, this pattern's definitely going to deliver. The mountains are going to get loaded up. Sierra Nevada, Cascades, Rocky Mountains, they're going to see some serious snow accumulations through the holidays. Looking ahead to New Year's, there's something developing that I want to keep an eye on for you. January's shaping up to be pretty active weather-wise, especially for folks in the northern tier of states. We might see some nor'easter potential for the East Coast if the atmospheric pattern sets up right near Greenland. The storm track could favor areas from the Midwest through the Ohio Valley and into the Northeast for January. Still early to get too specific, but it's something for all you winter weather watchers to keep in mind. For parents and grandparents worried about family members traveling through this mess, let me share something from experience. Stay in touch with your traveling relatives, share what you're hearing weather-wise, and be flexible with gathering time. The most important thing is everybody getting there safely, even if Christmas dinner happens on the 26th instead of the 25th. I've been through enough holiday storms to know that sometimes the best memories come from the unexpected adventures. Let me put this storm in perspective for those of you who've seen your share of winter weather over the years. This has similarities to some of the storms we've dealt with before, but the holiday timing makes it more challenging. The good news is we're so much better prepared these days. Better forecasting, better equipment, better communication. Emergency management folks have learned a lot from past events, and they're really good at pre-positioning resources now. Communities that have been through tough winters before know how to look out for each other, and that makes all the difference. What makes this one significant is how everything's happening at once. The heavy snow, high winds, and extreme cold. It's a reminder that Mother Nature can still surprise us, even with all our modern forecasting tools. Before I wrap up, here's the one thing I really want you to remember. Those rapid temperature changes are the real danger. Areas that are mild on Wednesday could be dangerous cold by Friday morning. That kind of swing can catch folks off guard. Especially if you're not used to dealing with severe winter weather, that temperature drop can be a real shock to the system. All right, let me leave you with the 3 most important things to take away from today's forecast. First, this is a significant winter storm that's going to impact holiday travel across a big chunk of North America. Second, the dangerous cold that follows makes preparation really important, especially for our more vulnerable neighbors. Third, Christmas week looks much better. Milder conditions should return for most areas by then. I know unexpected weather during the holidays can be stressful, especially when you've got families scattered all over. The key is staying informed, being prepared, and keeping those holiday plans flexible. Look out for your neighbors during this cold snap, especially the elderly folks who might need a helping hand. Communities that take care of each other always get through these weather challenges with fewer problems. In my next forecast, I'll have more details about Christmas week weather and what we might see heading into January. I'm also keeping an eye on some long-range signals that could affect winter conditions as we head into the new year. Until then, stay safe, stay warm, and remember, good preparation is always your best defense against tough weather. I'll keep watching this storm system and I'll update you right away if anything significant changes. Thanks for trusting me with your weather information during what's shaping up to be a challenging few days. Keep your family safe, keep those plans flexible, and I'll see you in the next forecast. This is Michael Thompson, reminding you that winter storms always pass, but the safety decisions we make can last a lifetime. Take care of yourselves and each other out there, folks.